Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon, here in Feed the Beast Skies 2 on Shadowlands SMP. So, last episode we went and started getting our storage better organized, set up some villagers, and started setting up our enchanting setup. And since then, I have been just working on decorating and expanding up the island. Went and set out where we're going to put all of our beehives. And we did manage to get one sea shelf into our enchanting setup. Still need to make another 14 more of them in order to finish filling up the enchanting setup so we can actually start infusing them. But before we do that, I kind of want to start getting to work on stuff to get to the end. And for that, we have a few things that we need to get. So there's a few things that we need for this, one of which is Skulk, which is going to be a little bit of a pain to get. Looking through stuff, we might need to get this Gate Pearl Appear into the Abyss, which could be interesting. Alternately, it looks like we can find a Warden in some of the nether structures and just get that from there. But the other two things are this Ether, of which we have one of, or getting at least one of these, so we need another 5 of those. And these Marks of Mastery, which require all of our different essences, plus a wilden tribute. So we're going to need to get stuff for this. All of these 8 essences are going to be very easy to get. We just need the imbuement chamber for all of those, which we have all the stuff to make. So we can easily go and get that crafted up right away. And start working on that. We also need an extra manipulation essence in order to get some deep slate, so we can get infinite deep slate. But in preparation for all of this, I've started work on this little hill here. So we've got a bunch of source berries around here. A bunch of these are all ready to be harvested, and I've started kind of decorating this. So we've got the archwood fence here. I want to go for a double layered fence on here. So we've got one along the ground, one up in the air. Just need to make a few more archwood fences for that. But there we go. There's our imbuement chamber. We should only need 3 pedestals around that. And we can start getting some lapis crafting into source gems. Now, in order to speed that up, we need to do a few things. So we need 2 source gems initially for this agronomic source link. And what that'll do is that should produce source when sourceberry bushes grow. Now what I would like to do is I would like to connect them into this mycelial source link. And what we can do is we can harvest the source berries, get energy from our agronomic source link for growing those, and then feed them into our mycelial source link and get even more source from that. But in order to do that, we are going to need a few different things. We also need some mushroom stew, which we don't have any mushrooms right now. We should be able to buy some easily. So we'll need to go and expand out our sourceberry fields here. What I would like to do is eventually automate that using Starbunkles, which we should have all the stuff to do. But for that, we're going to need the enchanting apparatus. So we are going to need a few more source gems, especially since we're going to need 16 to get all of the essences we need to make the Marks of Mastery that we need to make. So there we go. We got agronomic source link. And now we just need a source jar in order to store all of the source that produces. This is probably going to be overkill for what we actually need for this. But you know what? That's going to be part of the fun. I've never done a farm like this before. I usually go for, I think it's the Vitalic source link, whichever one gives you source for having mobs die nearby. Just have my mob farm right there and just let that run. So I wanted to try something different this time since I do that one a lot and figured this was a good time to try this. So I'm going to go stick that here in the middle. Put our source jar there. Got a few source berries here. I want to leave a 2x2 path open here. And then leave a 2x2 around the middle here. So if we do that, that should give us plenty of space for our pathways. I would like to use some source stone for those, but that's going to take quite a while, especially since we currently just have no source gems to craft it with. What if we have a hopper, if we can use a hopper to help automate this a little bit? So I'm going to keep planting more source berries here, keep creating more source gems, and then I'll be right back. All right, so got a few source gems. It goes quite a bit faster when we actually have source. And yeah, this is going to go really quickly, especially with the agronomic source link. Once we actually get something to automatically harvest all of these source berries and feed them into our mycelial source link, this is going to go really fast. This is going to produce a lot of source. So we're going to have to set up some warpers to transport it around the base. But gotten the arcane core that we needed, our enchanting apparatus, which we're going to put in this little divot here. Figured I wanted to set this inset into the island to contrast with our massive source farm here, which you can see I got the fences in all the way around. I really like that. What I'm thinking is that we could do a different color leaf on each of the sides, and then in the middle here we'll put some of the flashing archwood leaves, because those have a little bit of a glow to them. So I've gone and gotten all of the saplings. We had 3 of them already. We're just missing blue and yellow. And now we're just kind of waiting for those to grow up. Looks like we've already got the blazing ones. But while we wait for the other 4, what we can do is we can get a few things. So one of those things is we're going to need some arcane pedestals, both for our imbuement chamber and also to craft these ritual blazers. And it looks like we need some gold nuggets for those. So we need 8 of these around our enchanting setup. Let's actually turn those into the smaller form. We're going to take 3 of them out here to put around our imbuement chamber, since we don't really need those just yet. But this should work really well. I am a little concerned that the mycelial source link is going to eat the golden apple that we need for the anima essence, but we should be able to negate that slightly by just taking it out. But this should work quite well for getting all of the essences. That should go really quickly. We'll have to set up a chest over here to store all of them, maybe a barrel or something. I don't quite know. But one thing that we can do is we can get a couple ritual blazers here. One of these we're going to use for our little wilden summoning, and the other one is going to be for this tablet of containment. What this will do is, if we have a containment jar, we can go ahead and trap mobs into the jar. So we just need to craft up this tablet, put it in. We should have just about everything except the manipulation essence. So once we have that, anything that goes into the range here will be sucked into the jar. And what I'm hoping we can do is we can use a Drigme to maybe get some of those wilden chimera drops. I don't know if it's going to work. It may not. I don't really know. But in the meantime, we should be able to get ourselves a Starbuncle charm to start getting ourselves a little bit of automated sourceberry collection, which will allow us to have more sourceberries grow. So we need 4 gold on there. Starbuncle charm in there. We've had a few of them spawn on our island so far, so we've managed to get the little charms. And I'm not quite sure what exactly we need to do with this. Alright, a quick flip through the spellbook later, and it looks like we need a Dominion Rod to bind them to the inventory. So I have a chest here. Wonder if we can use it to drop it off directly into the mycelial source link. So we'll have to definitely get more source stone here. So if we do that, and that doesn't seem like it worked, so we're gonna have to try with the chest. So we do that, it just tells me position set. Gonna have to... Not quite sure how this is supposed to work. I've never worked with Starbunkles before. Mostly worked with Drigmes. So if we do that, looks like it's storing our Starbuncle. and we just need to click on the inventory that we want to store stuff in. Position set, but it's not saying that's storing items in any locations, so I'm not quite sure if that's working. Oh, well, we'll figure it out eventually. It's supposed to harvest all the source berries around it. I don't know if that's actually working or not. Oh, well, we'll figure that out eventually. For now, though, we have a few rituals here that we need to set up, and some more wilden stuff to set up. So I'm going to go and get a few more things set up here, try and get the rest of the center section here in, and then I'll be right back. All right, so a little bit later, we now have all of the source gems that we need to make all of our essences. I'm going to keep making a few more here eventually, but we have all of our manipulation essence, we have all of our earth essence here, so we're just going to keep those in our backpack for right now. But we don't quite have enough materials for the rest of our essences here. So our anima essence, we're missing a wither skelly skull, and some of these are just missing wilden drops. So the wings, the horns, and claws, and a couple of them we could probably just go ahead and make. Missing some snow blocks. I don't know if we have anything for snow blocks, but all in all, we're not doing too bad here. And just kind of keep all of our essence items in this little chest. Figured I'd go with mangrove, keeps it identifiable. And our little Starbuncle there has been very, very busy. That chest is almost full. Probably need to find some way of putting that out to the mycelial source link. But as you can see, I've been busy here putting in some of our leaves. So we've got at least the outside pretty much all the way done. We still have to get some of the leaves here on the inside. But I really like how this is turning out. Now, with our manipulation essence then, we can also go ahead and get some deep slate. We'll use that to get our deep slate seeds, and then we can finally put roofs on some of our stuff. But we now have our tablet of containment. I don't want to put it in just yet until we're ready with the wilden summoning, because I want to make sure that goes right in. And if we have anything else go into the area, it'll go into the jar. And then we'll have to set up some source transport, which would not be difficult, but is a little more than what I would like to set up right now. So what I've been doing instead has been decorating up our little arena here. As you can see, we've got pillars all the way around. I'm using pulverized cobblestone above it. And what I think we're going to do, this bottom layer here is going to be for our battles and more bosses. Probably set up a small little thing to defeat the wither in here too. But up above, we'll go and put some mob farms here. So I'm going to need to get some framed slabs to put around the outside here because we can't get pulverized cobblestone slabs. So that's going to take a little bit, but since we're building this whole thing out of cobblestone, it's pretty cheap. So we're basically going to create a secondary floor on this thing of cobblestone and then go from there, because I really like how this looks. I think this will be a nice, good, basic area here. And again, we'll set up our wilden spawner because that's one of the things that we really need to get that up. Because that'll allow us to get more wilden wings and horns and everything, which will allow us to summon the wilden chimera, which we need to defeat to get our wilden tribute for the Marks of Mastery. It's probably going to be the hardest part of all this. I fought this thing once, and it wasn't too bad, but it was definitely a bit of a challenge. Ritual will destroy blocks around the blazer, but since this is claim protected, we don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go get this layer here in and get some spaces marked out for various spawners. I think we should be able to put multiple up here. Put some more pillars up here as well, put in some walls. And that should be good for this area. This will kind of just be like a nice little temple area, I think. So I'm going to go get this in and set up, and then I'll be right back. All right, so I've kind of thrown together this kind of little pattern here. Gotten 4 chambers marked out with spaces for mob spawners. I don't know what we're going to put in two of them, but I know one of them is definitely going to have our wilden hunter. And another one is going to have a wither skelly spawner once we either find or make one. So go ahead and put one of those in there. Give it redstone control. Switch that on. And now I believe if we do that, that should tweak it so that it has fewer spawn radius. Yep. So that should allow it to just spawn within this area. And that make it so it spawns with light. So hopefully this should allow us to get more of these. I'd like to eventually put in a little mob grinder here. For right now, I think this should work just fine. We just need to find some wilden wings, which are wilden stalkers and not wilden hunters. And it looks like the spikes are only wilden defenders. So we're gonna need some of those too. Okay, so we can get fangs from this, at least. So that's good. That'll at least get us one thing for the tablet of summon wilden. You know what? I think we just need one type of wilden materials in order to get the tablet. So maybe we can try that. We can get infinite fangs now. All we need is lapis blocks and vexing archwood. We got plenty of lapis. We should actually be able to just get the other things from running the base ritual, because it's the wilden chimera that needs all 3 wilden drops in order to summon. So let's go ahead and craft one of those so we can actually try and get more wilden parts. Shouldn't be too bad. I've never actually done the base ritual before, only the wilden chimera one. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully we get at least one of each of our wilden types. So let's go ahead and put that on the ritual blazer. And looks like we already got the one. Okay, there's another one. Okay, so there we go. There's a wilden stalker. Let's go and get that. That should get us the wing. That's good. Maybe if we can get the defender. Looks like we got another wilden stalker there. 2 of them actually. Nice. And looks like we got a wilden defender as well. That wasn't too bad. Not to do that again, because I don't think we have a whole lot of wilden spikes. But that gets us a good amount of stuff. We should definitely go and turn off our spawner, though. So that seems like it's a very effective way of getting more wilden parts. I know that we're going to need 1 wing for the air essence here. I think that's the only, we need a fang for the conjugation, which we definitely have, or horn, sorry. The conjugation essence, so there's all of those. And that's it. So hopefully we can keep doing that. We should have enough materials to make 1 more, and hopefully we can capture the wilden chimera, and that will give us potentially infinite. I doubt it though, but we'll still try. If not, we'll run that again. It's not gonna, like, we're low on horns here. All right, so let's put our tablet in there, put our items for that, set up our tablet of containment on that one, go and activate that, and now we should have the wilden chimera coming in very soon. So as soon as that summons in, it should hopefully go into the, okay, so it just broke a whole bunch of blocks and is not going into the jar. My guess is one of them went in there. Can do that. Yep, we have a cobblestone in the jar. Great. Oh, now we gotta fight this thing. This is gonna go really long. But it should just be smack this thing around for a few minutes, and that should be good. Our relics should help the spore sack. So our health is getting dangerously low there. Well, that could have gone better. All right, this is not going to go well. And apparently this thing can still destroy blocks up here. At least we're picking them all up. Keep it away from the spawners. Last time I fought this thing was in a cave, and it was not this difficult. And now this stupid thing can fly. Great. Just what I needed. This is gonna go horrible. Again. Alright, and there we go. Destroyed a good chunk of our area, but we now have a wilden tribute and a bunch of cobblestone that we need to store. So, there's one of the two that we need. Might as well just fight the other one at this point. But once we get the rest of the essences, that'll get us our Mark of Masteries that we need to craft our end portal frames. And then we'll be one step closer to getting that. So I'm going to go and get the rest of those. And probably try and find myself a Wither Skelly spawner. But I think that is probably going to be it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more of what is going on this island. And I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.